Drew Yari Show.
Welcome to the Drew Yari Show.
Drew Yari.
Hey, and a special cameo appearance by Kevin Castle.
It's Kev Castle. The legend.
The legend.
Kev Castle. The
star.
legend. What's going on?
Nothing.
Is this a good time to interfere?
Oh no. I was just talking about New Day. I'm pretty sure I have a feeling what you. I think you might agree with me on this. I think New Day kind of needs to end already. And the point I was giving was that you look at Big E. Big E's clearly kind of past. He's kind of done with the New Day, and by done I don't mean like he's not friends with them anymore. More just like that's kind of like in his rearview mirror. Xavier Woods is kind of. It looks like he's slowly kind of transitioning out of wrestling. Because I remember him saying that he was looking to get like his PhD and not be in wrestling too long. And then he's got that hosting gig with, G4. So, I personally, to me, I think New Day's kind of run its course.
Well, I mean, I think they can kind of, you can take them or leave them, I think, at this point. I think they could still be a viable act. They still sell merch. Kids still like them. They still have a good fan base. They get a good reaction. Even, there's no crowd, but you could tell people at home like them. I think they'll be one of the, I think they'll be on the first show back. They'll be an important part of the return to crowds. So I think I don't think they're going anywhere. I think Big E's not going to make it as a singles wrestler, in my personal opinion. I just don't think he has it as a singles. I think New Day, again, I don't understand this fascination with having to break out. Someone's got to be the Shawn Michaels. No, they don't. The Road Warriors were never successful singles. Powers of Pain were never successful singles. Rock and Roll Express were never successful singles. Fantastics were never successful singles. I can go on and on and on. Midnight Express, never successful singles. Why does it have to be a Shawn Michaels or a Scott Steiner breakout? It doesn't have to be. So Big E could be a tag team guy and have a great career. You can have a great career as a tag team guy. No reason for it. Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy, Buddy Roberts as the Freebirds had great careers. I don't remember Michael Hayes as a solo act. And Terry Gordy, too. He did a lot of solo stuff in Japan, but when I think of those dudes, I think of them as a trio. And that's what I think of New Day as. I think of them as the modern-day African-American Freebirds. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I agree. I mean, I also think it depends on the group because, like the Hardys, for example. Jeff was clearly the star. Matt was the worker. Edge and Christian. Edge was the star. Christian was the worker. And I agree with you. Big E, good worker, but not a star. Not a guy that's going to main event WrestleMania. He's definitely a guy you can send to Good Morning America. He's a guy you can put on a talk show because he's entertaining. He knows how to talk. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I think it's kind of run its course. I'm not saying disassemble them now. I mean like eventually. Because it looks like I said, it looks like Xavier might be slowly transitioning out of wrestling. With all of his duties outside of the business. Right. And then, Kofi looks like he has a job for life in this company.
They all probably do. I think they'll all be fine. I wouldn't even, worry about them. They're not even on my radar as anything to, worry about the status of them. They'll be fine as a tag team or a trio or a duo. And like I said, a Big E push reminds me of them trying to push Bubba Ray Dudley with Devon. It just didn't work. So again, too much emphasis on having a breakout star from tag teams. It's 50% of the time it doesn't work. As long as you're a star in some capacity, it doesn't matter if it's a solo or a tag team. The thing is, everybody knows Vince doesn't like tag teams too much, so you worry about being in a tag team because there's no emphasis on tag teams too much in the WWE. That could be a legit concern, But the New Day have always gotten good TV time. They've always gotten good pushes. And how many title runs have they had at this point? How many times have they had the belts? I don't even know.
Someone in the chat room's going to have to help me out. I think, was it
No,
7?
What's up to everybody in the chat room?
7, 8? Is any?
Yeah.
I mean, I can look it up. I can look it up, but it's just, hopefully somebody knows.
Something like that. Who's in the chat room? Island guy, Roban, Sinbar. I'm trying to see who's in the chat. Is Mish around? I haven't seen Mish lately.
Mish is, well, I see Mish is away, and he's saying he's playing Google Chrome, so I don't know what he's doing. But
okay. Was Sean that son of a bitch?
Just being a son of a bitch as usual. Going on and ruining Christmas.
10 times they're champions.
10 times, there you go.
Wow.
But how you doing, man? How was your doctor's appointment?
Oh, it was fucking long. It was like a long day. I mean, we didn't get home till maybe an hour ago. Me and my friend James rode with me into Brooklyn. It's about a 45-minute drive from where I live, so it's not very close, but not that far. But far enough, just a little bit under an hour to get there from where I live. It's the only reason I still go there is because I just have gone to them for like 25 years. I don't like switching doctors, so everyone's like, "Why don't you go in your neighborhood? Why do you go so far to go to the doctor?" It's like it's not a big deal. But when I got there, I was the only one there. There was nobody else there. They took me right away. I was there for like an hour and a half. I mean, it was a long fucking run. Did everything, man. I got every test under the sun, man. They couldn't find a vein in my arm to take blood, so they took it out of my hand. They found they had to find a vein in my hand. So that was interesting. I said to the girl, "You ever take blood out of someone's hand before?" She goes, "No, first time. The doctor told me to do it." I was like, she goes, I can't find a vein in your forearm, and you got tattoos. I can't see a vein. It's like you have like ink, like I can't tell which is a vein. I want to keep stabbing you. So she's like, unless you can help me out and like show. I'm like, I can't. I don't know. I go, I'm trying to feel around, and she's like, just make a fist. And I made a fist, and there's like a vein near my thumb and my knuckle. And she's like, I'm going to take it right from that. What is that noise? That is horrible.
That's me. Well, no, that's me. For some reason, the cursor for my mouse is not showing up on the screen.
Okay. It sounds like a rabbit tapping its foot.
Yeah, because I'm tapping the fucking the pad on here, and it's not moving. It's not even showing up.
Oh boy!
Like the recording's working, but I don't know why the fuck it's not showing up.
How are you recording? You're recording with the Craig or the?
Not Craig, but yeah, because I guess I'll try Craig another time. But yeah, I'm still recording on Spreaker, but I'm trying to. I'm listening. I'm not ignoring you, but I'm just trying to.
Okay.
I'm trying to get Control Alt Delete. Yeah, keep talking, man.
Oh man. Yeah. See, Robot is trying to tell you what to do there. See, CTRL, then Alt, then Delete.
Control Alt Delete.
Yeah.
And the fucking cursor is still not showing up. What the fuck?
Oh, it's not working.
I don't know how the hell that happened. That's literally never happened to me before.
Got a lot of problems, Drew.
Yeah. That's an understatement. But keep talking, man.
So anyway, they had to do all sorts of tests, EKG, blood tests, fucking throat culture. They had to do everything because I haven't been there in a while, so he wanted to like fucking. It's funny, you go in there to take your temperature and for COVID, and real stringent about like wearing the mask. You had to wear I had to wear the mask the whole time I was there. Again, it was just a pain in the ass. I mean, the only time I lifted it up literally was when I had to look in my throat and do the throat culture. It was the only time I pulled it right back down. I didn't pull it up again for the whole visit. But yeah, everything, I mean, basically what happened, they gave me medicine for my foot, for that buildup of water retention that just like is in my right foot that just seems to come and go. So they gave me some sort of medicine, and I got to take it for like 3 days, and then I got to call them, let them know if it worked. If not, to give me something stronger. But at least I know now, like at least I'm getting like some sort of medication now to fix it. Some of these home remedies, which is just not working. Yeah, other than that, I mean, everything went okay. I mean, it was just a long, draining visit, just getting probed and fucking prostate exam, which is fucking totally uncomfortable. That was just fucking horrible. I was trying to like talk him out of doing that. And he goes, we're not waiting another year to do it. You're 52 years old, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, man, come on. So I had to get that done today. That fucking was horrible. And other than that, though, I mean, he said I'm the most healthy, unhealthy person he's ever met. So that's pretty good. No, seriously, this is the funny thing. As much as I have like some obvious fucking problems, like I don't sleep, I eat like shit, and like I eat like a raccoon out of a dumpster.
Right.
And he's like, your blood pressure is good, your blood oxygen levels are excellent, your EKG is excellent. He's like, you could tell you never smoked. I'm like, no, I've never smoked a day in my life. I don't smoke weed. I never smoke cigarettes. I don't drink. And that's probably your salvation. He goes, but don't get too overconfident because you're 52. You have heart disease runs in the family. You do have high blood pressure. So, I got to take this medicine and stuff. I got to lose about like 30 pounds and, the usual shit, COVID weight. But other than that, I was happy that DKG was so spotless. He didn't have to take it. Usually they take it like 2 or 3 times to get a better reading. And this time, I don't even know, maybe it was more relaxed and stuff because the doctor did DKG. Usually they have one of these girls do it, and they're like sticking these electrodes on my chest, and the tape isn't sticking to my chest, and they're like pressing down the tape, and it's just like such a clusterfuck. So today it was like the only person who took the blood was the girl, but the doctor did all the tests today. He didn't have any assistant do anything. So I had the doctor's full attention today, so I was happy about that. Because he's a busy fucking guy, man. Super busy. But I got him at a good time. I made the last appointment before I go on Christmas break for a few days, and I was the last patient. And they locked the door, and I had them all to myself like an hour and a half. So, like, I got a lot of questions answered that I had some concerns about some things that were bothering me. And, I had a good talk. Talked about 15 minutes in his office after hours, though. I'm a good conversationalist, Drew. I draw people's attention.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad it was really nothing too serious. But it's weird. It's weird after you told me you were having your doctor's appointment that late. I told you, in the direct message that my parents. Hold on, I'm just turning the fan over here. My parents took a COVID test today because one of their closest friends actually tested positive for COVID.
Oh, really?
And they decided to go get tested, today. And I was just, the one thing that came into effect was that because I'm working on Christmas Day, so I won't be able to really see them. And then, but we were planning, just like to go over on Christmas Eve and just like drop off presents and exchange presents and whatnot. And I heard apparently, whenever not apparently because it is, but when you get tested for COVID, you automatically have to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Oh, no, I know that. Yeah, no, I know that. I know. I've got a bunch of friends who've had to do that, going away on trips, and they come back, flying out, to California, whatever. They come back, they're on lockdown for like 2 weeks. A bunch of my friends have had to do that, actually.
Right. And so they was like, no, well, they actually know a place where, and the way my mom put it was called rapid testing because they actually been there before, where you get your results in 15 minutes.
Right.
And luckily, it came out negative. So I mean, there's that. So my parents are okay, which is always a good thing. And
that's good. I mean, right before Christmas, you don't want to get COVID.
Yeah, but I was kind of looking into that to possibly try that place out. It's better to be safe than sorry.
I haven't had a COVID test yet at all. I even asked the doctor today. He goes, "Why, you feel sick?" I'm like, "No, I don't feel sick." He goes, "Who have you been around besides your friend James?" I'm like, "Nobody." It's like, does he get tested a lot? I go, almost every week for his job. He goes, "I don't think you need a test." Because you want to get one for peace of mind, that's fine. But he's like, from what you tell me, and you're only around this person, I said, you haven't been in anybody's home or anything. I'm like, nope. I said, I'm going to go see my mom. I'm going to stand outside. I saw my mom after I went to the doctor. My mom lives about 5 blocks away from there. I had to pick up a chair.
Right.
I'm doing a new setup for my new smash hit podcast that's coming in 2021.
Right.
Everyone's talking about it, by the way. So I had to get a new chair, and her boyfriend was getting rid of his chair, and I wanted it, so I had to go pick it up. And I had a gift for my mom anyway for Christmas, so I wanted to see my mom. But I talked to my mom from up the steps. My mom was up a flight of steps, and the chair was already put out in the hallway for me for her boyfriend. I wasn't allowed to go past the first step. I had to throw the gift to my mom. I'm not even joking. Literally throw the gift up to my mom. And then my mom put the gift that she had for me on the middle of the steps. I waited for her to go back up, and then I went and got it. That's how careful they're being as senior citizens. They don't want to take any chances, you know? So I gave my mom the shield. Like, I gave her like almost like Black Power sign. And I did. It was like a Black Power sign. You know, we were down with the Black Panther. It was so weird, like, to not hug my mom, Merry Christmas. I'm like, hey, Merry Christmas. I put my hand up in the air. Like, it was so bizarre. I'm like, that's my mother. You know, like, I would do that to like a person I don't know. But yeah, you just don't want to take any chances. You know, I haven't hugged my mom in a year. Last time I hugged my mom was last December. I haven't had any like contact with my mom. I saw her twice now, but it was from afar both times. One time was from a car, and she was on the other side of the street. And again, had to hand me something. She put it on top of her car. I went, got it, went back in the car. And now this time it was on steps. And it's just, yeah, I mean, really, and you know, listen, she stayed, and our boyfriend stayed COVID-free all this time. You know, they're just being extra cautious. But, you know, they're getting the vaccine in the new year. So once they get it, I'll be able to be around them. So, you know, I mean, I'm not that bummed about being by myself for Christmas. I might do a show. I think I'm doing a show tomorrow. I don't even know. I have to talk to Mish. If Mish can record me, because Craig is so unreliable, because DT I don't think is going to be around. So if Mish can record me, I'm doing a show tomorrow night for the Patreons. I'm not doing one New Year's because Trez can't do it, and DT's doing a live show that night on YouTube. It's stupid for me to compete against. You know, you don't compete against your own team. So you know, I don't want to take any viewers away from him or him away from me. And plus, I don't want to, you know, work every holiday. I did Thanksgiving night. If I do Christmas night, New Year's, I think I'll take a break, and then me and Trez will maybe do something that Saturday. I got to figure it out. You know, I haven't talked to Trez. I got to talk to her tomorrow.
All right. This
I don't know if you talked to Trez.
I talked to her the other day. I asked her how she was doing during that snowstorm, and she wrote me back, and then I wrote her something, and she didn't write back. So I sent something to John too. So
yeah, no, I haven't. John, my brother, just thumbed up the thing that so my brother saw that I'm on the show now because he just thumbed up my post about you. I called you a nice guy. Is that okay that I called you that?
I mean, that's probably the nicest thing.
I said good guy. I did take a shot at you on the headlocks in the Jeff Lippman show last night. I took a shot at you, but it was for fun. Obviously, it was for fun.
Yeah.
Then I pulled it back and said I was just kidding.
I'll be doing the same thing next Tuesday, which
I'm sure you will.
I will be on the. I will be just you know, just letting everyone know. Next Tuesday, I'll be on Jeff Lippman's podcast.
No, I know. They
Hangover,
plugged.
so.
That's why your name came up. That's why your name came up. Island guy's asking me if I had to get the vaccine for the club. No, I'm not yet. I mean, it's not available to any of us. Who even knows when we're going to even get it? We're just like regular citizens. I think spring was when we're getting it. I don't even know. Right. Probably in, you know, I think my mom is getting it in January or February. I think my mom's trying to get it as soon as possible, so I think my mom's getting it in the new year. But senior citizens are like first in line. I don't even know where I'd fall into important, you know, what category we'd be in. But I would imagine we're not in the priority list. So I would probably February, March. That's everybody I talk to says that. You know, I mean, they're just guesstimations of when we're getting a vaccine. February, March. I asked my doctor today. He kind of shrugged his shoulders. He doesn't know, but he said when it's available, go get it. I was like, okay. So I was like, do I get it from you? He goes, you can get it from anybody. He didn't say. It's funny. My doctor didn't seem like he takes COVID seriously, but I think he's more along the lines of there's people who need to be very worried about it. There's people who don't need to be worried about it. He goes, you're healthy to the degree that I don't think you're not in that. You're 52. You're not 65. You know.
Right.
And he's like, and again, you have good cardio. Your EKG is good. Your lungs are good. you don't have asthma, you don't have any kind of other than your foot thing. That's not going to be something that's going to draw COVID. That's almost like an affliction more than an illness. What I have going on with me, you know what I mean? There's a big
Right.
difference between an affliction and an illness. I take a couple of pills, this thing will disappear in my foot. But if you have like lung disease or you have asthma, that's a condition that's serious. So he just said, he says, you should get it before spring. I don't know. He just kind of shrugged his shoulders. It's like he's waiting to hear on it himself, and he's a doctor. So I don't think anybody really knows because I read that they were trying to vaccinate like 20 million people in December. And so far, I think what did they vaccinate? 1 million, I think. I was looking before on the news when I saw Andrew Yang is running for mayor here in New York. So I'm glad we'll be getting rid of our dipshit mayor,
Yeah. I mean, like, because I obviously don't live in New York, but I'm just like I go by off of what you or Trez or Draper tell me that just the mayor, just the mayor, whatever. What was his name? Cuomo.
No, the governor is Andrew Cuomo. He's horrible. I mean, he's the dick, D-I-C-K, tater. He's a dictator. De Blasio is our mayor. He is the one who's just all over the road, is bad, homeless, and just closing businesses and coming down on small businesses. And he's just a guy who's out of touch with his own citizens, and he doesn't back the police department at all. He's a nightmare. He really is. He's got unruly kids who like get involved in the protests. His daughter got arrested and stuff for being a little jerk off. I mean, again, he's just an asshole. His family's a bunch of assholes. So, and it's just a real disconnect of Andrew Yang, who is a Queens native, also an old school wrestling fan. Anybody who drops Rick Rude's name impresses me. Let's be honest, Drew. You interview like famous people, they always go for like Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin. When you mention Rick Rude, you're a real wrestling fan. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's to me that was awesome. You know what I mean? When you mention Rick Rude, then that's like, okay, this guy's a real. I remember The Rock. Like, oh, dude, can you drop someone's name who's like not mad famous? I love when like celebrities try to make like they're down with wrestling. Name like what's his name, Harvey Whippleman. Then I'll believe that you're a wrestling fan. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like this is a nice segue. I haven't watched it yet, but you did. Drew McIntyre has his like own little, I guess his own little interview show on, I don't know if it's network or YouTube, where he'll interview random celebrities, and he had Matthew McConaughey on the show, and you had mentioned that Matthew McConaughey name dropped a lot of old school
Skandar Akbar, the Von Erichs,
like Texas wrestling, Von Erichs, and he's done that before because he was on you know who Graham Norton is?
Sure, yeah, the English guy.
Yeah, he was on there, and if anyone doesn't know what Graham Norton is, it's one of those. It's basically one of those like talk shows, but it's a little different because instead of it just being, one celebrity talks first and the second one comes on afterwards, like everybody sits on a couch, so they pretty much all interact with each other. John Cena was there to promote the Bumblebee movie, and Matthew McConaughey was there. I'm not sure which movie he was promoting at the time. And he
was promoting White Boy Rick.
Okay, there you go. And then Matthew McConaughey starts pretty much kind of marking out because he's such a big wrestling fan, or I don't know currently, but like he was a fan of old school. He was like the names you mentioned, Skandar Akbar. I think he mentioned the Sheik, and just other names. And it's interesting to hear people like that. Like you mentioned, anyone can just say Hulk Hogan was my favorite wrestler in the world.
The Rock, yeah, Stone Cold. Yeah, I mean come on.
Yeah, but it's a lot of respect to say, hey, I liked, I was a fan of Eddie Guerrero. I was a fan of Shelton Benjamin. I was a fan of names you mentioned like Al Perez, for example.
Of course, anybody's an Al Perez fan right off the bat is a great American citizen.
Right, but yeah, that's always interesting. Like when you like the guys that weren't always big names, that kind of shows. Maybe not automatically, but that maybe shows. Oh, this guy wasn't just a casual wrestling fan. Like he actually was a wrestling fan.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's because wrestling is always like a secret embarrassment to a lot of celebs or high octane people, in the spotlight. But it's funny. Years ago, wrestling goes through these cycles of people being ashamed of it. In the early '80s, before rock and wrestling, 80, 81, 82, 83. It's like you didn't, it was like very tribal. I used to told story many times on DTKC over the years that I'd have wrestling magazine in seventh, eighth grade, and I'm reading on the desk, and like some idiot would come by and go, "What is this? Oh my God, you watch this shit?" And it'd be like, you're 12 years old. You're like, yeah, so what? Oh, it's so fake. Then 85, rock and wrestling, Hulk Hogan, Saturday Night Live, Mr. T, hosting Saturday Night Live, front page newspapers all over the country, WrestleMania, Madison Square Garden, first pay-per-view ever for WWF. And it's all cool all of a sudden. Oh, Hulk Hogan, everybody, Mr. T, Rocky 3. And then, again, it goes in cycles. Then it gets embarrassing again. Then Attitude Era gets cool again. You know what I mean? Remember in the early, I don't even know if you're too young to remember this. You're a pretty young guy. But in 93, 94, 95, it was in the embarrassing stages, with Double J, Jeff Jarrett there.
Right.
Diesel and Shawn Michaels, the dudes with attitudes. It was like really cringy. Undertaker was wearing all this purple. It's like, it's a cartoon. Duke the Dumpster. Then it gets cool again with Attitude Era. Then everyone, DX, suck it. Wrestling's always been a shame and then something to prop. It's embarrassing, then it's cool. Embarrassing, cool. I would have thought now it's going through the embarrassing period, but it seems like a lot of people are admitting they're wrestling fans now.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's kind of, more so WWE. It's making money in spite of itself.
True. That's a very good analogy, actually, Drew.
Yeah, and in the Attitude Era, it was making money, but it was making money because it was cool. And I kind of vaguely remember the mid '90s with Big Daddy Cool, Double J, blah blah blah. I kind of tend to try not to remember that, but I always remember kind of going back to what you were saying earlier about liking the lesser known guys. Mm-hmm. I was always a fan of the good workers. I started watching wrestling around '97, and and I'll just say this right now: I was never a fan of the bigger guys. I never was a Hogan fan. I mean, maybe because I was too young to like Hogan, but was never a Hogan fan. Was never a Nash fan. I liked guys like Eddie Guerrero. I liked, this may be controversial to say I liked Chris Benoit. I liked.
God.
Raymond. I liked him as a wrestler. Okay.
God.
I like
Lord.
I like Jericho back then, before he started to lose his mind, and then later in the WWE stages, guys like Shelton Benjamin, guys like Paul London, and Brian Kendrick and whatnot. I was always a fan of the workers. But of course I like the Steve Austins. I like Goldberg. I'm not gonna lie, I was a Goldberg fan back in the day. I like Sting. So
I heard you were a big Bob the Builder fan.
Oh yes, I was.
He's a good worker. Bob the Builder is the ultimate worker.
Yeah, you know why? Because he can fix anything.
That's true. Bob the Builder is a big worker. Island guy likes Hoovy.
The Juice.
Yeah, I never really got too into him, and his career really got cut short really quickly. I think he burned a lot of bridges with Conan and that group, and I think he just kind of faded away.
Yeah, that's always unfortunate when somebody with that much talent, decides to piss it away because they have a bad attitude.
Alberto Del Rio, who else is a good example? CM Punk is a good example of that. Mr. Kennedy is a good example of that.
Well, Mr. Kennedy was kind of an idiot. let's just be real.
Yeah, I think he's kind of an idiot. There's a lot of guys who, what's his name? Kenny Dykstra. Remember him?
Oh, yeah, good example. Another good example.
Another one who, could have been something. Chris Masters, another one. There's a lot of guys, I think, who's the WWE just wasn't fair. Again, I think you have to be really something special for the WWE to put up with nonsense from you. If you're really worth it, they'll put, just like a ball team. It's like, he's batting 300, You really have to put up the numbers to get. Today, you can't rock the boat if you don't have the numbers to back it up. You know what I mean? It's just That's why it's funny when people will say, well, they mistreat this one. It's not that mistreating. I just think that we don't, you hear certain things behind the scenes about certain people that are difficult. Like I've already heard about Sasha Banks. She's very difficult behind the scenes. And I think they're like, oh, if they lose her, I'm like, I don't think WWE cares if they lose anybody. I mean, let's be honest. This is a company that Stone Cold took his ball and went home. Then they made fun of him on TV for the next 2 months. That was Steve Austin. Remember that?
Right.
When Steve Austin took his ball and went home, and the WWE bashed him every chance they got on live television every week. They don't care. WWE always feels you're replaceable, and I don't think anybody's. And today, everyone is replaceable. I don't think there's anybody who on that roster who's not replaceable. And I think if you're a problem child, they're just not going to deal with you. And again, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We really don't. So who we perceive on TV as a great guy or such a sweetheart of a girl could be a nightmare backstage. You never really know. You don't really know till you get to shoot interviews. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because it's back in the day. You would always hear, Shawn Michaels was difficult to work with, but Vince put up with it because he was talented. Now it's like, oh, you have a bad attitude? Well, there's the door.
Yeah, I just don't think I think there's a zero tolerance for that now. And again, there's just so many wrestlers and people should really hold on to their jobs like grim death right now. It's not a bountiful feast out there for money for wrestlers. So I think, again, if you're in a company and you have a contract, you're making pretty good money, you might not be happy with your position on the card. But, it's much better than being an independent wrestler and unemployed with no contract and no income. Right now, if you're an independent wrestler, think about this, Drew, you are making nothing. Right now, Tessa Blanchard makes nothing because she's not under contract to anybody. So hopefully she saved her very pitiful Impact contract money, which I think was like $300 a week. She didn't make anything. Even Magnum TA was talking about she didn't get paid anything in Impact on the shoot interview he just did about his stepdaughter. Not about her, but he was talking about her during this interview. And he said Tessa made no money at Impact. Cross has said straight up he made nothing at Impact. Barely. Scarlett had to take another job because she made so little at Impact. So it's not always greener on the other side of the coin. And the AEW is not looking to sign everybody. Did you see Zack Ryder signed by AEW? I didn't. They're not taking everybody anymore. That shit's over. So if you're not happy, be not happy, but make sure you still keep your job for now because it's very scarce out there.
Yeah, you're right, because because if you get fired, that's another thing. But at this point, like you just mentioned, you really should try to just hold on to that job until crowds are back. Because, I'll give you a good example. At my job, one of the people in the examiners section just up and quit. They literally just called him to work and said, "I'm quitting." Right. During a pandemic, quitting a job where they're making good money, and they didn't get fired. Like, she literally just called in and said, "I quit," and I'm just like, that was kind of stupid. Like, yeah, I mean, what's going on at work is one thing, but it's just like, at this point, I'm lucky that I still have this job, so I'm going to do what I can to hold on to it. And it's the same thing with these people, with these guys in these current companies, like especially WWE and AEW. You gotta thank your lucky stars that you still have that job. I mean, it's admirable to say, "Hey, I still want to work. I still like being a wrestler. I want to show my craft, A, B, C, and D." But at the same time, it's like, dude, you're getting paid almost six figures. Matter of fact, I think you're getting paid probably more than a U.S. senator to just go in the back and eat catering.
Drew, you have to acknowledge your fans on the chat. Well, I learned that in podcasting school. Robon Sinbar said, "Sleep is taking over from his medicine. Good night. Take care." So good night to Robon.
Yeah, I saw it. Cool. Well, he was posting that while you were talking, so I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, good night, Sasha. Good night, Sasha Bancorder. Exactly.
I thought the Drew Yari show does tend to get people a little drowsy. I know. I'm just kidding, Drew.
Hey. Are you trying to have fun with me?
The Drew Yari show, sponsored by ZQL.
So,
Maurice,
hey, guess what, everybody? Kevin had to go away.
Maurice said what happened to Ryder for AEW, and the Island guy said he thought Ryder and AEW was in a match with Cody. Yeah, but they didn't give him a contract, so he had a 5-match contract, and he's already done. So they didn't sign him. What's up, Maurice?
Which that was shocking.
Yeah, sorry to embarrass you on your own show, Drew, but
it's okay.
You can edit that out.
It's okay. I'm used to it.
It's okay. I got embarrassed on my own show for 13 years.
Okay. That makes me feel
there you go. But yeah, I mean, they're not giving out. I don't see them signing any cast-offs from WWE anytime soon. I think they, the Miro was the last one. I don't think that's it. I think that's pretty much it. There's revenue's not coming in yet. Crowds ain't coming back to like the summertime. Matter of fact, one thing I will say today, my doctor did say with kind of confidence, and he's just a general practitioner doctor in New York. He's nobody special, but he's been a doctor for 35 years and he knows a lot of people. He told me that he's pretty confident that I was talking about my the clubs not being open and stuff. He goes, "You'll probably be back to work this summer." I was like, "This summer?" He goes, "Yeah, I see the city opening up by May or June for sure." He's like, there's going to be herd immunity and the vaccinations are going to, they're going to really get a lot of people vaccinated January, February. The herd immunity is going to kick in by the springtime. I think there's no reason I can't see, from a doctor's perspective, he says the city reopening by summer. I don't see any reason why. So I was like, oh, okay, good news, I guess. He goes, it's just an opinion, but I think I'm right on that. And I was like, okay. And that was pretty much it. That's like the third guy in the medical profession to tell me that. So, but summer's a long time away, it's like 6 months away, so it's like, it's just a long draining process,
So let me ask you something before we, talk wrestling or talk more wrestling. So I was talking with somebody at work about the whole situation. I mentioned what you had mentioned. I didn't say too much. I don't want to give all your information away, but I had mentioned that apparently with these vaccinations that it's going to become a thing where you would need a COVID card, like for example.
Yeah, I mean that's not official. It's just and there was a news report. You can go online and read about that.
Right.
Take it from me. I'm just a podcaster.
Yeah, I just mentioned in a nutshell what you told me. COVID.
No, I'm not allowed to talk about that anymore.
Yeah, I didn't want to give all your information away. I just said I heard a rumor from a friend of a friend. That's it. That's all I said. But I told him that, and he said, "Well, don't you think that might be an invasion of privacy?"
I don't know. Too bad.
Okay.
So,
right.
Invasion of privacy. Okay. Is it an invasion of privacy when someone takes someone's email and posts it for public people to look at it in public and not have to suffer any kind of repercussions for that? Is that the invasion of privacy too?
Good point. We'll just keep it at that. So, anyways, moving on. So you had mentioned that, or you said you didn't get a chance to watch NXT at all.
No, I got home at 9:45.
So, I'll just kind of fill you in briefly on what happened. So, yeah, they were building up the Cross and, pre-match. Cross had a nice promo as usual, and, he said, he kind of had an interesting moment where he said, my destiny is to get the title back that I never lost. But
I thought Cross wasn't on. He did a promo.
Yeah, he did a promo, and he did a tape promo. Him and Priest did tape promos where,
oh, okay,
Cross doing his usual shtick, and he said, I'm going to take back the title I never lost, but you're a roadblock that I find interesting. So at New Year's Evil, I'm going to kick your ass, blah, blah, blah. And then you decided to make little smart-ass comments to Scarlett. And then Scarlett spoke a little bit. I forgot what she said, but she spoke a little bit. And then Priest, talked and, kind of called Cross out in his manhood again, saying, I thought you were this big badass everyone was talking about. I still don't see it because, you blindsided me. You didn't attack me head on. So, typical, badass wrestling promos, but they worked. Coming from, two guys like that. So, obviously it's a match that people are going to want to see. else happened? Was it they announced Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez in a last woman standing match for New Year's Evil.
Okay.
So there's that. I think, what is it? Tommaso Ciampa, Timothy Thatcher are going to be in a fight pit on New Year's Evil. So there's that. And,
Nice.
the Garganos had their typical, bad humor segments.
When is New Year's Evil? 2 weeks from today, right?
Yeah, it's the first Wednesday of January, so it's the 6th, I believe.
2 weeks from today.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but I was just trying to think of the date. But, and then what else happened? It was Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream came back, and they were in the main event. Adam Cole won. And then they just hyped up the championship match with Balor and O'Reilly. And that's really about it.
Okay. That's
I mean,
cool.
the show was okay. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was a pretty good show. I mean, you probably would have liked it.
Yeah, I'll watch it on whenever it's on demand.
And I didn't watch AEW for obvious reasons. So.
Nobody watches AEW. Come on.
Nobody does. I mean, it was actually taped, so I read the results. So I didn't bother. But do you want to talk about TLC?
What is that? 10 to 11 care?
Well, yeah, we could talk about that too. But I meant the pay-per-view that was on Sunday.
Did I just review that? Oh yeah, I was on the Headlocks and Hangovers, right?
Oh, you already reviewed it.
No. I'm just saying that's the name of the show, right? Headlocks and Hangovers.
Yeah, that's or I think it's Hammerlock Hangover.
Hammerlock Hangover?
Yes.
Is that the name of the show?
Yes.
Are we sure?
I'm positive. No.
Okay.
Jeff messaged me the other day asking, it's still next Tuesday, and just reminding me about the date.
Hammerlock Hangover. That's right.
I'm positive it's Hammerlock Hangover.
Okay, I apologize. I forget shit. I'm old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was on there last night. They were nice guys, Steve and Jeff. Very, very nice guys.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, what am I in for on Tuesday?
What are you in for? No, they have a lot. There's a lot of fun on there. I mean, they're they're a new podcast, kind of finding their audience, finding their way. I was happy when they told me this is the third time I've been on a show that and I'm happy to hear it. I mean, I don't know why anybody cares what I say, but they said it's our highest rated show, and then this other show was on. It was like out of 10 shows we did, it was our highest rated show that you were on. They're like Castle is ratings. I'm like, I don't know. I was told that I'm not by other people, but so that was I was happy. I was happy to hear that. So anything I could do to help you young kids.
Yeah, you move the needle just a bit. So
if I promoted these shows, it would be a lot more. Sometimes I appear last minute. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do like a plug when I do my new podcast in the new year. I'm gonna I'll plug everybody who's like had me on as a guest. So I'm gonna make a list and give a shout out to everybody on my debut show. So I'll do that for everybody when that airs. I'll compile a list because I've made so many appearances. Like I was on the Rage Network with those guys, Jimmy from Australia. I don't know if you know him, and Chris, his partner from Canada. He's good dudes. I was just on the show with them on Friday. A lot of fun. Those guys are great. I had a great time with them too. So yeah, I've been guesting on a lot of podcasts, So that's funny when everyone's like, "Oh, where can we hear you?" I'm like, I'm all over the place. I'm like as visible as anybody else. So it's funny when everyone makes like I'm like in seclusion or something. I'm pretty out there. You could find me on any given week on 2 or 3 different podcasts.
So you're basically like the Stan Lee of podcasts.
I am, but when I become a big star in the new format, I'm probably not going to be able to come on any of these shows anymore. My manager already told me these days of these shows are over. We're asking for appearance fees, and we're going for the big time here. I was like, oh man. He goes, so get this all out of your system. My manager told me. I was like, get what out of my side? I go, I can't appear on my friend's shows anymore. It's like, no. I was like, oh good Lord, this is gonna suck. Got a manager now, Drew. It's gonna be like a tyrant.
Ugh.
Terrible.
Shit,
Don't ever hire family as manager.
Yeah. I don't even want to be around my family, let alone hiring as a manager.
Yeah, it's my oldest brother. So
I mean, I might need a manager because I can barely keep this show intact.
uh I don't need a manager. I I think my brother's just trying to help me get value of my name. You know what I mean? Because he
Right.
thinks it wasn't valued or devalued by other situations. So he's going to try and shift that direction. So
Yeah, I understand. So
yeah, and he's good at that. So
yeah, you're a star, and it's like I told you, you're a top guy doing top guy things.
it's true. I am a star. There's no doubt. There's no doubt that I'm a pioneer. There's no doubt. But I've been lackadaisical. Like I've just been like, I didn't care enough to make myself a bigger star. But now I'm like, maybe I will. I'll think about it. It's a lot of work, like putting in like star work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I totally get you. I can relate.
No, no one's ever going to accuse Kevin Castle of working hard. He works hard. You deserve it. I don't want anybody to ever. I don't want anybody to ever say that about me ever. Please, anybody who's a remote fan of mine, never say I deserve it or work hard. I don't want to be known for either. I just want to be known for being a 100% fucking wrestling expert, being entertaining, and having a great radio voice. That's all I want to be known for. Could care less if anybody thinks I work hard. I don't care. I just want to be, me. That's it. You know?
Yeah. One thing I've always learned is it's not a race. You just if you work at your own pace, it's going to work out. It's like, and this is kind of like going off topic. It's like 5 or 6 years ago, I was in a different place in my life where I looked at everybody else and went, "Why is everybody my age a little bit more successful than me?" And somebody commented on my post, saying it's not a race, Andrew. And 6 years later, 2 college degrees, a car that's in my name. I'm in a stable relationship. I have a good job.
Nice.
I have
good cats.
I have good cats. I'm on a podcast with the biggest fucking superstar in podcasting, Kevin Castle, mind you. And
the secret. They call me the secret.
The secret.
Yeah.
Was it the narcissist, Kevin Castle?
I don't know. I have a lot of nicknames on the other show. The other night they called me. They said I'm always a class act. So they're like, "You're like classy Kevin Castle, like classy Freddie Blassie." Then someone else called me that. Like everyone's got a different nickname for me. So
Classic Kevin
I got to come up
Castle.
with. Wouldn't it be funny if I changed? Like I'm not Kevin Castle anymore. I changed a new last name. I was thinking of doing that actually.
Hey, go for it.
Not Bob Fresca either. Like a brand new last name.
Kevin
Like
Draper.
I was thinking of being Kevin Maurice Bear. How about that?
Kevin Maurice Bear. I like it.
Kevin Maurice Bear. As a tribute to Maurice Bear on our Patreon here. Tribute.
Hey, why not?
Well, how about Kevin Drew Yari?
I don't know. I don't know if you're
Kev Yari.
I don't know if you're Yari enough.
I don't know if I'm Yari material.
But we'll see. We'll have to put you through the trials. But we'll see what you're made of. But,
how about Kev Kenter, Sean's illegitimate brother? I like that, Kev Kenter. It sounds like a cool name, right? Kev Kenter.
Kevin Missionary Thomas?
No, I'm Kev Kenter. Like that's just right. That's like a wrestling name.
That works. I like it. KK.
I might KK. Right, exactly.
But anyway, I don't even know I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
Thank God this is not the mainstream. We would be thrown off the air at this point.
Spreaker's like, why am I paying this guy to talk about
exactly? This? Why are they paying anybody?
And my first thought is, wait, I'm getting paid?
Yeah, exactly. Good Lord. I didn't make any money in podcasting till my, let me see, not counting hotlines or anything. I think like 4 years ago was the first time I made money in podcasting.
I think
4 years ago.
I think I'm technically starting to make money with Spreaker because of the ads. Because on Spreaker they have it to where like if you have to put the appropriate amount of ads to, I guess, be in their ad program, which I started doing. And if you make if you go past a certain amount in your ads, then that's when they start paying you. So I already connected it to my PayPal, so I'm waiting to get that first big paycheck from Spreaker pretty soon.
I realized tomorrow is Christmas Eve. Did you realize that?
Yeah, like somebody put on Twitter, it went from December 1st to December 22nd real quick.
It did. It's like, it doesn't even seem. I didn't put a tree up this year. There's no Christmas decorations on my house at all. Like, it's not Christmassy. Me and James were out driving around before. Tomorrow it's going to be like 58 degrees here in New York. Right. And tomorrow, and on Christmas Day, same thing. And we were saying it's like not like Christmas at all. It's just there's no Christmas vibe at all. We were just in a store before. I had to pick up some stuff for the house. He had to get some stuff too. And there was Christmas music playing, but it just didn't feel like. Again, I can't get into the vibe. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but how's it out there in Texas? Is it very Christmassy in San Antonio?
I mean, some people are trying to enjoy. I see people with their lights up, but it's just it doesn't really feel like Christmas, which is unfortunate. I mean,
because it's been a long, draining year, and I don't think there's nothing to really do well, it does have to do with COVID because it's just been this long, endless Groundhog Day every day. But it's not. No one told you can't celebrate. No one like shut Christmas down or anything, literally. Right. But it almost feels like they did in a way. It almost feels like I just can't get into it. It's like tomorrow. I was even saying to myself, like, I mean, I already gave my mom her gift. I didn't really have to buy for anybody this year. Lord knows no one's buying for me. But that's the whole thing. It's like there's no one to even give gifts to. It's very weird. It's just like even giving my mother the thing. I was like, yeah, here you go. Merry Christmas. Like, it's just that there's not the same feeling behind it. I feel bad about that. It's not like I'm not happy about it, It's like next year I make it a point to I don't make too many resolutions because it's hard to keep resolutions. Put yourself in I'm going to do this year. That's why even with my new podcast, like, when does it launch? I'm like, when me and Chicky are ready to launch it, we'll launch it. We're not giving an exact date. She doesn't want that pressure either because she wants to make sure we're ready. And she's brand new to the process and wants to be ready. So, I mean, again, we'll be ready when we're ready. So I hate people harp on this is coming, that's coming. It's irritating. So it's just like, this is a plan for New Year. When it happens, it happens. Same thing. Well, when's Lucky 13 going to reopen again? I have no idea. When it does, it does. I'm not making guesstimations anymore. They just never work. I'll just be like, hey, when it's down, I'm ready for it. I'll be ready. I'll be there. You know what I mean? I'll be there. So when you give the word, I'll be there. These proclamations, declarations, it's like nobody gives a shit. It's like I see podcasters, changes coming. No one cares. No one cared last year. They don't care next year. Nobody gives a shit. Seriously, nobody cares, man. Nobody cares. People have so many problems right now. What the fuck does anybody care about any podcast making change? You know what people need to make change for? Hopefully they get $2,000 instead of $600. That's the change they hope that's made right now. 600 to 2,000 is the only change that any of us should be interested in right now for a goddamn stimulus check. So many people just so full of themselves. Like, dude, people, there's no time to be self-important right now. You either got to think about the big picture, which is everybody else, and not be selfish. And that's why I even said it was inappropriate to even launch podcasts right now or new things while things are going on. Because first of all, I already have a platform. I mean, would I like to be back in the mainstream? Sure. But again, it's no one's going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that's going to prevent me from doing that is my death. And today I assured that I'll be alive for a little bit while longer by going to the doctor. So he assured me I should be alive in the next few months. But he said he can't promise anything. Don't hold him to it. But you know what I mean? It's like that's, as New Year comes upon, everyone's, my brother posted today, I don't know who he was talking about, but, he was posting about people making these, New Year's resolutions, proclamations. How about just be a better person? How about and show it instead of post about it? How about you just show it that you're bettering yourself? brag about it, show it. You know what I mean? It's like, it reminds me of someone who does something like, shows you a check because it's not good enough that you said, hey, today I walked by a homeless man. I gave him $10. I felt like it's Christmas. Oh, show us a picture of you handing the $10 to the homeless man, or it didn't happen. It's like, where have people become so cynical and so pathetic that they have to prove something of a good charity?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, right. Do I need to prove to you that I did something nice or something? It's
Yeah,
like, no.
pathetic, man, pathetic.
It's
So pathetic. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not going to take a picture of the homeless man taking my handout money. Perhaps he has more pride and dignity than me snapping his photo of me giving him $10 while he's sitting on the sidewalk. I think he's got it rough enough than to be a spectacle on fucking Twitter for someone's proof and amusement. Fucking morons, man. Seriously.
right, because I'm always very private or not very private, but I choose what to post on social media because
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I don't post a lot of stuff about my family or my girl, because you got me on my personal Facebook, so you'll see a lot more. Like, you'll see me post more about my girl, and
Sure.
which I'm not one of those annoying couples which is just like, me and my girl, I love her, I love her, I love her. Which if it's like our anniversary, or if I just feel like being nice guy Yari, like you said I am,
Right.
I'll post something nice about her, or stuff like that. But
Sure.
I keep my private life private, and for the most part, I'll post stuff about the cats. I'll post memes. I'll like on Twitter, I'll talk about especially on Twitter. I will not post any pictures of my girl or my family. I've only posted one picture of my girl on Twitter, and that's it.
No, and good for you, because even like every now, like you saw the other day, I'll break out a picture from the old days or whatever of my family, and quite honestly, those pictures, it's not even like everyone's always, well, let's see this, a family, and it's like, when I'll bust out something that doesn't even get a lot of traction. I get more likes and comments when I'll post, yeah, man, I just tasted this horrible burp, man. You ever do that? Like burp and you can taste it? Like,
Right.
I get like 50 likes and 60 comments. I post a nice picture of my family. It's like 20 people looked at it. Like, I'm not even going to post it. No one gives a shit. Who cares? So I think it's so funny when everyone thinks like post. First of all, when you're a middle-aged man and you're looking for accolades on your looks or your, like, what do you think you're going to get out of that? Yeah, 25-year-old girls are clamoring to see pictures of 51, 52-year-old guys. If your last name's not Pitt or Ford or Cruz, no one gives a shit. I got news for you. You're lucky your own family cares about taking your picture. And even then, they put it in the back of the refrigerator. You get a magnet put over you on the refrigerator. I never, like I said, I get private, and then I realize, why am I putting this out there for these jerk offs online? It's like, what's the point? I have I'm gonna have the edge philosophy. You know what I allow you to know, the old edge theme. So that's gonna be the new thing.
Right.
It's too much, man, too much. No one wants to see this.
And
No one
like
wants to see that.
you say that, and I thought of an interview, with Denzel Washington, where he was talking about Chadwick Boseman, who, as we all know, Black Panther. He passed away not too long ago, and he had kept that shit a secret from pretty much everybody. I mean, his family knew, and a couple friends knew, but Marvel Studios didn't know, Disney didn't know, directors, actors that he worked with, they had no clue. And when they asked, Denzel about it, he basically just said what you did, which was, he didn't think anyone needed to know. He let people know who he wanted to know, because it wasn't really something that anyone really should know.
Right.
So, he also didn't want it to be something like almost like a crutch in some aspects. Like, he didn't want charity or people feel sorry for him. He just wanted to keep his private life private. And again, going back to what you said, you'll know what he wants you to know. And that's basically me. Like, people are going to know things about me that I want them to know, or that I choose for them to know. If they have me on my personal Facebook, they'll know a little bit more about me. But again, not everybody's on my personal Facebook. Only people that I choose to add on my personal Facebook.
Yeah, again, it's too much. I'm probably going back to being more private in the new year than I've been. It's just like there's no gain for any of that, and you got to keep mystery anyway. I think the best stuff is when there's mystery, just like bands back in the day. There's just too much access. People have way too much access to people. It's too much. It's time to put some mystery back in the game. And then everybody's so unattractive too. I don't want to look at anybody. You know what I mean?
That too.
Right, so like, come on, it's like trying to, can we get the like a Ricky Martin or something going on over here? It's like people want to show themselves off. I'm like, go back to audio. I mean, seriously, to me, the mystery of not being able to have access to people, I think that makes you more intrigued by people. Whether it's a celebrity, whether it's radio personality, podcast personality, wrestler, and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I think when you know too much and the blooms off the rose, as I always used to say. I don't know. Like I don't want to put the mystery back in the bottle. It's so much more intriguing to not know everything about somebody. It's like, oh, my life is an open book on the table. But why? Why are you doing that? To me, it's like a very needy thing. I think people who do that are, have some deep rooted thing from childhood. They didn't get enough attention, or, they were never the life of the party. They were never in the spotlight. I noticed that with podcasters, you know. But it's funny; it's mostly men. It's not women. I wanted to do a thing, and I was going to tell you this. And Trez is obviously one of them, and Chickie's another one. But I'm going to look to start an alliance of female podcasters, and be the head of this whole female thing. I'm going to be like the guy who runs Glow, but for female podcasters. And I want to just get a whole contingency of female podcasters, because I'm tired of working with bitchy middle-aged men crying all the time, complain, drama. I have this feeling like you work with women, it's just going to be a lot better. As me and Trez have like these fake fights on the air, like where it's just like bullshit fights. We don't actually ever get mad at each other. It's fake. You know what I'm saying? It's like, first of all, it's all like sassy, and you know what I'm saying? It's all silly. But I noticed that you would think that you would have more drama with women or female counterparts than you would with guys your own age, or boys, or your boys, or your men your age, or guys you know for a long time. It's weird that like I don't ever hear anything bad or dramatic about any female podcasters. You ever notice that? There's not a lot of them, but the ones that are out there, they're not. I don't ever hear anything about them. I mean, I only hear things about the guys. That's weird, right? Isn't it that the guys have like worse reps than the girls when it comes to dramatics?
Yeah, that's weird because not to sound sexist, but you would think it'd be the other way around.
No, that's what I'm saying. I almost feel like it's something no one's ever brought up before. And also, it's wrestling is big boys club. I call it the bitch boys club. And you gotta, I'd love to see more women incorporated into the boys club. We need it, and it's funny. And again, the women don't bring any drama. I never felt for 1 second that Trez brought any drama onto the show at all. I know men who've started drama, who can't stay out of drama. But never. And same thing with my friend Chicky. She's not having that at all. She even says the last thing she wants. If that's going to ever be the case in podcast, you don't want anything to do with it. So I said, that's interesting. Because you would think that like in high school, this girl's causing drama. Same thing in like hanging out at the club. This girl at the bar is causing a problem. But in podcasting, it's the guys who get into a problem. I don't see any, and I know a few females who do podcasting. They're more lower profile. They're not high profile people, but they're never involved in any kind of drama. I never see anything posted on Twitter about them. I never see anybody hating on them. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. I'm very interested. I think I'm going to research that more.
Yeah, I mean,
women in wrestling podcasts. Where are they? Where are my girls at? I'm going to post that tomorrow. Where are my girls at? Where my females at, man? Kevin Castle starting his own female podcasting union. Where are my girls at? I want more women in podcasting. I'm going to lead the charge. Women in podcast. Even the Island guy, he wants it. He's posting right now. The Island guy's dying to see more women in podcasting. Right, yeah. Island guy?
I can read his mind. Yeah, it's weird.
Everybody wants more women.
It's weird. It's like I've always seemed to get along more with women than guys. Because, like you said, in my experience with guys, it's always very much a competition. Everything has to be a competition. Everything.
Yeah, and then they get offended. Like, me and you would joke. Now, if you weren't who you were and didn't know me the way you know me, several things I said to you tonight, you would have boo-boo face over and be mad.
Right.
And tomorrow write me a 7-page novel email how I hurt your feelings. But I'm joking, and clearly I'm joking, and any of the listeners can tell I'm joking. But again, some people they wait till the next day and go, I really feel mad about what happened. And I'm like, what are we here? Like this is not normal for men. Like our age or over 30, 40, 50 years old. This is not normal, And it's funny, we kind of keep it here because if we ever reveal this to people in our real life, they would think that there's something mentally wrong with us. They probably have us committed. Like, really? This is the way you act online? I'd be embarrassed. But females, again, I never hear a bad thing ever. So it's funny because people are like, oh, well, yeah, I noticed you're going to be doing more things with more females. Like, oh, I think it's less drama. Quite honestly, it's less drama, less headaches, better to look at and hear, better voice. And wants to hear a nice voice from a good-looking woman. I don't know anybody who goes, what podcasting needs? More middle-aged men. That's what podcasting needs. No, it doesn't. It needs women. Podcasting needs women. Podcasting needs women badly. Sign up. Tomorrow is going to be my first. Where are my girls at? That's what I'm going to post. And I'm going to see who responds to it.
I'm all for women in podcasts. There's, obviously there's Trez. There's, what is it? JD? Not that JD.
That. Let me tell you something. That I like that girl. That girl's cool.
She's so fucking cool. I love her.
She's mad cool. I would consider working with her. I was even thinking about approaching her to work with her if she'd be interested in working with me. I like her a lot. I got to do a show with her with Julian Cannon.
Right.
Maybe about, I don't know, maybe 4 months ago. It was during COVID. I know. It was like 4 or 5 months ago.
I remember that episode.
And she was great, and we got along great, and it was good back and forth between us. And I just felt I liked her, and I wanted to, and I complimented her, and I said, she's very, very humble girl. Like, I complimented her. I said, I like your work. So, oh, thank you. Just very not animated or anything like that, or over the top, very cut and dry. But I like her a lot. I think she can be a lot bigger than what she is. And, that's still probably the best compliment I can give somebody is someone who's under the radar and should be probably much more over the radar. So I'm actually, you just reminded me, she's on my radar of people I want to maybe talk to about working on projects with. I like her a lot, and her knowledge of wrestling is fantastic, and her tweet game is good too. Again, not this, unhinged person. If you don't like a wrestler she doesn't like, she can deal with the criticism of something that she likes that you don't like. I was very impressed by her.
Yeah, like that again. Big. I'm tongue twisted. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Yeah, just I'm all for that. Women in podcasting. We need more women in podcasting.
We do.
We need to change the game. The game needs to change. Like with everything else, and especially podcasting, things need to evolve. We need young blood. Not just in politics. That's another story. But same thing with podcasting. We need young blood.
We do. I mean, I look at our Patreon, and I love all of our Patreon guys, our boys. I consider them family. A lot of these guys I consider, especially since I'm like the oldest guy out of the whole group, from the host to the fans, I'm the oldest. So I kind of consider myself like the big brother or like the uncle to a lot of people. And I'm saddened that I don't see more females. I mean, I was hoping that we would. It bothers me that we don't, because there's a lot of women wrestling fans. Where are they? It's not that they don't want to spend $2. It's not that they don't love wrestling as much as we do. I want to see. I want to really make a conscious effort to get more of a female fan. More female fans on board and more female interaction. We gotta shake it up a little bit. I think, and just in general in podcasting. And I think again, it's not gimmicky to me. It's not I want to do it because no one. Yes, I want to do it because no one else is doing it, and there'll be something original for a change in a world that there's very little originality left in. But I think it's been something that's been missing a long time. And I be quite honest with you, and everyone knows it's no secret. I fucking had to eat a lot of shit when I first put Trez on the air. There was some backlash from some, I guess, old patrons. I don't even know with us anymore. It was like 3 years ago.
Right.
Even some other people gave me a hard time about her, and even accused me of having a relationship with her, and that's why I had her on the show,
Okay.
which is ridiculous because I was with someone 11 years while I was a podcaster and on Hotline, who's with me the whole way, and that no one ever heard her voice ever on the show ever, other than background person who I told to close the door when she left the room. Other than that, I never would put anybody on the air that I was involved with. So again, I want to see that more of that. And like I said, now that I'm like, an independent free agent, I can do what I want. I'm looking to do that in the mainstream. I want to see if we get involved with more females. And I mean, obviously still working with guys and too, but definitely mix it up a little bit and have a lot more of a diverse situation,
So I guy in the chat, when I forgot it was either me or you that mentioned, why there's so less of women in wrestling podcasting. He said they're probably embarrassed. Do you think? And by I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I don't know what he's thinking when he said that. But like, do you think it's a thing of like they are kind of not embarrassed, but almost kind of intimidated because it's always such a it's always been such a boys' club. Like, do you think that maybe that's kind of what he meant?
I think so, and I think it doesn't help that some people aren't as friendly as they should be to certain females. I mean, or showing a willingness to open the door a little bit for them. But again, it takes one person to make a movement happen or get the ball rolling on a movement. I have a voice in podcasting, so no matter what, I have power of my own page, and if I endorse someone and tell everyone, hey, check this guy out, to me, I'm confident that tomorrow if I post something, I post JD's link. I'm like, have you ever heard this girl? I personally think she's one of the best underused, underrated people in podcasting. I guarantee I'll get her a lot of traffic, and she deserves it. And it'll be my pleasure to do it, and I don't have to get anything out of it other than a thank you. Even that, I don't even need a thank you. I'll just do it because I want to do it. Everyone in podcasting always wants to do something that has something in it for them. What's in it for me?
Right.
I've even heard people, say to me, no names mentioned, but some people say, and several people say to me, why do you go? And again, this is not to hurt your feelings or anybody's feelings in podcasting, but we'll say, why do you go on all these shows, Kev? Like, you kind of, you're too exposing yourself going on all these different shows, and it's not special if you go on all the time. And I'm like, no, because I'm having fun. I like going on. It's not, people even say, "What do you get paid for?" I'm like, no, half the time I do it for free. I don't ask anything of it. I go, the only thing I'll ask some people to do every now and then is donate to my cat cause, and other than that, I says I do it just to do it. So like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And I'm like, again, these are people trying to tell me from a business perspective, and I'm like, I don't see it that way. I think it's like it shows a lot to keep your roots. And again, when I was coming up on a hotline and 10 people were listening to me, 5 years later, it became 5,000 people listening to me. And a couple of years later, it was, 10,000 people. And so, I mean, you kind of got to start somewhere and you build. And I don't think I don't feel that way. Like, I never feel like I shouldn't go on a show. I mean, I've had people approach me. It's like, yeah, I saw you went on. Would you want to come on our show? I don't know if, we don't have a big audience or anything. I'm like, doesn't matter to me. I'll come on. If I'm free, I'll do it, But there's other people, I'm sure there's people that you've asked to come on the show that have come on, and other people you probably wouldn't even think about asking because you kind of know that they wouldn't come on. You know what I mean?
Like you for example. When I first asked you to be on the show, I was scared because I was like, what's he gonna say? Because he kind of barely knows me at this point, and I asked you, and this is when we were kind of starting to become a little bit more friendly. Like, I would be in the chat room of, one of your shows, and I, say something, and you shout it out. And I was just like, should I ask him? Should I ask him? And then I just said, fuck it. And I took a leap of faith, basically. And I just asked you, and you said, yeah, sure, I'll be in your show, no problem. And it was just one of those things where I'm just like, okay. Like, that obviously worked out. And, to go back to what you were saying about, podcasters that they only really do things when it's something for them. Again, I'm like you. I want to help people out because people have helped me. People like Trez and Mish and you have always went out of your way to be nice and give me advice and help me out. And I did the same thing for a guy like RJ, because I'll be honest, I didn't know RJ had a podcast at the time, because I had him on my Twitter a lot, and I just knew that we like the same shit, that we like wrestling, we like the superhero stuff, comics. And then when I found out that he had his own podcast, I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a listen. And I listened, and I loved what I heard. I thought he was very engaging and very entertaining, and he actually kept my attention. And I just, again, put something on Twitter saying, hey, just listen to this guy's show. He's really good. Give it a listen. And he did the same thing for me. And again, it was just one of those things where it's just like, I want this guy to get noticed. Obviously I want to get noticed, but at the same time, I want to help put people over. I want to help people get that audience that they want. Even if it's just like, 10 or 20 more people, I want them to gain an audience.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Mish is a great example of a guy who was very giving of himself and not paranoid at the subs. He gives very giving of his time. He'll help anybody. I had a great conversation with somebody, no names mentioned, about Mish the other day. He was saying, hey, he's so helpful. I'm like, yeah, he's very helpful. I mean, he's helped me out of a lot of situations. I mean, even tomorrow night, if I even end up doing the podcast tomorrow, it's because Mish, put a time aside on Christmas Eve to help me out. So again, it's like he's very giving of his time. He's very mentoring for podcasters. He's a great go-to guy. There's certain guys that you can go to in this scene, and there's certain guys you can't go to at all because they'll make fun of you, they'll mock you, or they'll try and help you, then trash you behind your back. Mish is not one of those guys. Mish is one of the good guys in the business. And again, my friendship with him is solid, always will be. And he's very helpful to me. This is the day I met him 13 years ago, I guess, at this point. Very mentoring, very nurturing. And he's helped everyone I run into in podcasting has had a good encounter with Mish. I've never heard a bad encounter,
And Mish is just, he's genuine.
He's genuine. He wants people to do well. He doesn't sit there and go, could this take thunder away from Wrestling Soup? Is this guy going to be better than me? Is this guy? He's not paranoid. He doesn't think like that. I don't think for 1 second he's thinking, well, what's in it for me? He knows that, first of all, in podcast, there's nothing in it for any of us. The only thing that's in it for us is maybe a friendship. Maybe you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You know what I mean? Help me, and if I can help you in some other way. It's one hand washes the other, both hands wash the face. That's the way my business works in the club business. There's always a sense of, oh, I owe this guy. You don't owe anybody. You do it because you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, then don't fucking do it. But don't fucking not do it and then fucking go around and say, this guy, like, because you just come off like an asshole. I mean, again, I tell people I can help you. Mish is great on the technical side of stuff. He's, from production, you have a problem, or even now you have a glitch in the system. Mish could probably talk you through it, or at least he'll research it and maybe he can give you a tip on how to fix it. But the way I can help people is kind of how to even run a show, how to conduct yourself on the air, on air speaking, topics, just kind of, the structure of how to run a podcast. I'm not a good technical guy, but I'm a good on-air guy. There's nobody to me more astute in wrestling history and being a wrestling enthusiast than I am. I'll take on anybody in that. I don't have a fear of anybody upstaging me in that. Can someone do production better than me? Sure, but that's not my forte. But on the air is my game, and I'm as good as anybody. I don't think I listen to everybody, and I'm like, I'm as good as that guy. It's not being overconfident. It's just that I know there's certain things that I'm good at, and this is one of them. But again, and my thing to help people would be, Kev, what do you, I'm not sure like what I should like, what would be like a good way to go with the show? Like what would be a good way to lead? Or, I think I should be more serious. Should I be more funny, humorous on the show? And I always tell people, definitely don't be super serious. No one wants to listen to an hour of, and in other news, you're not a news broadcaster. You know what I mean? Podcasters are entertainers as well too. It's okay to be silly and funny. It's okay to even lose. I don't know if you heard our show last week on KNT Chronicles with me and Mesh. I completely, for 5 minutes, could not stop laughing. I couldn't even catch my breath.
I remember that.
I mean, again, and that was not planned. That just happened. and it was great. And I never, ever, ever got more emails saying that show with you and Mish last week was one of the best shows you've done. I love Trez and everything, but Mish was a great, that was a great fill-in. And you and Mish just were on your game last week. It was just fantastic show. Every email. I was even like, wow, I'm like, people really checked it out. I guess word got around that it was a fun show. And they were like, yo, I even laughed. Like, it was fun watching you. I almost felt like some people even said to me, which was very touching, I felt so good for you, Kev, because like I felt you had a hard year, and you always, it seemed like every show you come on and this club closed and your friend passed away, like you've had a real rough go. So when I heard you just let loose and just laugh like the old days, like from a couple of years ago when you were really loose on the show, it was like I felt so great about it. So it was great that people said that to me. It meant a lot to me that they wanted to be happy for me. You know what I'm saying? So that was a good. Even Mish said, "Great show, good feedback." It was. We got fantastic feedback on it, and because again, it's just off the cuff, and that's the best thing you could do for a podcast. You could be regimented and stuff, but people, again, cover all the news that I talk about this. Oh, I forgot to mention this on the news. People are going to hear it somewhere else. If you miss a subject, people will. You don't have to worry that you didn't cover every waking aspect of TLC. You don't have to worry about that. You know why? Because 50 other people covered it that people heard about already. They do want to hear your take on it, but it's not a big deal if you don't or you stray a little bit from the subject. Like even tonight, we're kind of all over the road, but that's people will. I think people will stay tuned for that because you kind of never know what we're going to say next, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's the way I'm going to run. I mean, when me and Chicky were talking about how we're going to format our show, I said loose, just loose. She goes, yeah, because I can't memorize scripts or anything like that. I'm like, you're not. And I started laughing. I'm like, she's new to podcasting, so she doesn't, she's learning. And she was afraid she was going to have to learn all this information and do all. And I said, just, we're talking about a movie. Give your opinions on it. You don't got to write it down off the cuff. How did you feel about that movie? How did you feel about the new Bill and Ted movie? What'd you think? You don't have to write it down. Just say it. You know what I mean, Drew?
Yeah,
just say it. Just talk about it. How do you feel about Drew Yari? I can't stand his fucking guts. Just say it.
Well, I mean, I think he's just misunderstood. I think he's misunderstood. People just need to know him better. But,
I'm determined to make you a star in podcasting, Drew.
Make me a star.
Me and Mish's project is going to be to make Drew Yari a household name.
Oh, so Mish is involved now.
Well, I'm involving Mish. She didn't say that, but I'm going to involve him. I'm going to need him. He's going to have to help you. He'll help you with production. I'll help you with on-air comedy.
Oh,
there's a little production issues on your show, Drew. I won't kid you.
It's like yeah, good. Mish can take care of the show because I hate doing that shit.
So some production value.
It's like, yeah, make me look like a star, Mish.
We gotta make some new stuff. We gotta create some new stars. We're like creative in WWE. We gotta get some new guys on the map. We're not gonna be around forever. Us older guys.
Like
we're certainly
more qualified than Bruce Pritchard. That's for damn sure.
Well, you're 30. What are you? You're 30, right?
31.
31. So you're. I mean, my God, I got 21 years on you. So you're the next generation of podcasters.
Yeah,
and you're not like your typical millennial. So, which thank God.
I'm kind of I mean, well, the thing is, I'm kind of like I can be back and forth, but the thing about me, I don't want to I'm not trying to blow myself, but it's just like I yeah, if it gets me right, I'm playing. But no, I've always been raised, not just by my parents, but pretty much really brothers. Hey, what's going on, Mish? I've always kind of been brought up with that notion of choose your battles, choose your hill to die on, and I don't know, I can't really pinpoint the best way to put it. It's more just like, if I see something that I know is stupid, I'm going to say it's stupid.
Right.
And if I see something that I know is not going to really, affect me or my money or my livelihood or my relationship, why am I going to bitch about it?
That's true.
That's just me. I'm just me. Like I'm not mean, I'm not nice, and I'm not that smart. I'm just me. I just try to be me.
Well, you don't have to be that smart to do, do podcasts. You don't have to be that smart. You should be smart in with wrestling information, but you don't have to be smart. You know,
Yeah,
you should know. You just if you do a wrestling podcast, you need to know wrestling. I have a big problem with people who know modern wrestling, but wrestling history means nothing to them. I don't get that, and I don't understand people don't get more heat for that because I can never do a baseball podcast where you ask me a question about Dave Winfield from 1980 from the Yankees. I'm like, oh, it was before my time. I'm more of a 90 and up guy. Like you'd be like, you do a podcast about baseball? So again, I always get a kick out of the people who think they know wrestling and what's best for Chris Jericho and stuff. And meanwhile, they never heard of Stampede. They have no idea about any of the history of some of these people. They never, and to them it's like, oh, who cares about the AWA World Class? Yeah, this old wrestling, because you have to know history to really know about the future of wrestling because everything comes around full circle. And there's a lot taken from old school wrestling, from angles to even characters. And it's cool to have the knowledge of it when you see a certain wrestler. Oh, that reminds me of such and such. You know that because you kind of studied, you know what you're talking about. There's a lot of modern wrestling fans who just, quite honestly, just care about AEW. They don't care about anything else. I don't even think they care about WCW even 20 years ago. They just care about what they want to care about. And there's an audience for that, and then there's podcasts that you have people like Mish and Joe who know their stuff, or Jason Solomasa who knows his stuff. And credit to Don Tony. Don Tony knows his stuff. I know my stuff. And then there's other podcasts I listen to, and it's like, before Attitude Era, I don't think they have any clue. I think they would be stuck. That's why they harp on and on about the current product. Is to me, when you have a podcast, I think it's good that you can kind of do throwback things and talk about things from yesteryear and stuff. Because listen, it's very depressing though. I mean, how many? Look, we get it. Wrestling is not good right now. WWE creative is horrible. The ratings are in the tank. There's only so many times you can beat that horse to death. You know what I mean? So you can, do a little throwback stuff and talk about when wrestling was good, and people like to take a walk down memory lane every now and then. It's not a bad thing. I know there's some podcasts who never do like throwback stuff, never mention old names. Again, there's an audience for everybody, but I think the modern wrestling fan wants just as interested in the here and the now. That's fine, but I think I can never imagine being a fan of anything, including movies, like slasher movies.
Right.
I like some of this stuff today, but I love most of the 70s and 80s. But, again, like it's fun to watch through decades how these films have changed, how they've evolved and declined in some aspects. And again, that makes you, I think, more of a better fan when you know your history. You know the modern stuff, but you have a vast knowledge of history. It's great to be a well-rounded fan. When you're a well-rounded fan, no one could ever kind of clown you in your game or make you look stupid because you know what you're talking about, So I think even for a 30-year-old guy, I mean, listen, you grew up in Texas. You weren't – Von Erichs were long gone by the time you were already probably not even in grade school, and that World Class was done already. So I'm sure you heard the legends, and being from San Antonio, about the Guerreros and stuff like that. Now, you weren't around to actually see them wrestle, but you can appreciate the history of it,
Yeah, and that's the one thing is that I'm a fan of history, of anything, not just wrestling, movies, people in general, sports, and I always like learning about the old stuff. I'll be honest, I've learned most of my history from wrestling by listening to you, listening to Don Tony, listening to Mish, or Joey talk about wrestling, or John or Draper talk about wrestling. Same thing with when Mish is talking about like comic books, for example. I'll learn a lot about issues of the Punisher that Mish read, or issues of Captain America, and it's always interesting because when I hear that, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta read that. Like it's interesting, because I haven't read every comic book under the sun. I've read little pieces, but I'm at the point where I'm reading a lot more. And Mish just gave me a toast, so thanks, Mish.
Hey, what's up, Mish?
Yeah, I like learning about the old stuff. I think I'm becoming more of a fan of the older stuff in wrestling. When I like for example, I used to do watch-alongs. Before I came back to Discord, I would do watch-alongs on the show, and go on the network and watch. I think the last one I watched was, I think Sting versus Ric Flair at Clash of Champions, and that was like almost an hour. So I'm just like, geez, like
that was 1988.
You see, there you go. Again, you're a walking encyclopedia when it comes to wrestling, because like I know I can count on you and be like, so Kevin, tell me when Dusty Rhodes won the NWA World Championship, and I'm pretty sure
1982. But it's funny. Mish mentioned that to me last week on the show. He's like, I'm amazed at you with dates. I was like, I don't know. They just got. I told him it came from booking shows and always having to go back to that and being, around music people. It's like, oh, when was that Mastodon show? When was that Hatebreed show that you did, record release? So I'd always be, the date would always. So I was always like a date guy. Like, I always had like the dates in my head about certain things. And like when we went to the garden with me and my brother in the old days, when was that date? It was just like, and yeah, there's times I'll have to look it up to just double check. But most times I know it off the top of my head. I mean, I have a pretty good memory for the most part. Sometimes though on, for real things off in the distance from many moons ago, I remember much more than I remember more recent things. You know what I mean? So just for some reason, history, I just have all those dates embedded in my mind. Yeah, thank you, Mish, said I have amazing recall. Thank you, Mish. So yeah, I mean, I remembered all those dates because again, they just played such an important role. And I remember where I was when I was watching that show. And I remember that we couldn't see WrestleMania that day, but my uncle said, listen, I have the other wrestling. I go, what do you mean? He goes, the NWA, the Clash of Champions. I got TBS, come over to the house. You can watch it. So me and my brothers went there and we got everybody around the table. My uncle was everyone. We had like 14 people watching Sting and Flair go at it. They had no idea what they were watching, but we were excited about it. And I just remember those times. It just, like I said, they kind of stick out to me. And that's fun too. I mean, when you can go back, I don't see how any young wrestling fans wouldn't want to go back and watch crazy crowds screaming. You could barely hear the announcer. These pinfalls, 1-2 almost pins him. Flair is still such a notable guy. Sting, these are known guys that everybody knows today. Why wouldn't you want to go back and watch them in their prime? It's exciting. I mean, again, I couldn't imagine being like, not interested. Like go see Steve Austin as Stunning Steve, this guy that you know of now, this bald head. This is his origins. I like just like with superheroes. I love the origin stuff. I love the origins of wrestlers and how they started out. That's a lot of fun. And you have so much material to watch. You'll never be bored. If you're a wrestling fan, every day you can watch something new. Every day. I can't imagine anybody, it doesn't mean anything to me. I'll be like, then I don't. Again, there's different types of fans, but even now, like, listen, I'm a fan of the TV show Blue Bloods, right?
Right.
After I get off this podcast with you, I'm itching to go watch the latest episode from last Friday. I didn't see it yet. I've been wanting to watch it for like the last 3 nights, and I've watched every episode of Blue Bloods for the last 8 seasons. Now in season 9, and I love this show. My father got me into the show 9 years ago when it first aired. He's like, there's a show, Blue Bloods. I think you like it. Tom Selleck. And I loved it. I thought it was great. And I'm so into this show, just like Trez is into like, CSI and stuff like that. And, she's got her shows that she likes. So again, I'm such a fan. I can't wait to see the new episode. So it's just like anybody, like Game of Thrones. It's what you're into. And if you're into something really a lot, you're going to want to go back and see the origins of it, season 1, how it started, how the characters came to be. And it's the same thing for wrestling. I can't imagine a young person, I don't really care about Steve Austin's old days. I'm like, don't you want to see how he became? I think it's interesting. Same thing with Undertaker. I could watch Mean Mark Callis matches and watch him in Texas as the Punisher and all these gimmicks. It's fun to watch that. Because again, it's people just don't become, they take these stepping stones to where they go and where they go from A to Z. And I love watching the journey. I mean, as a fan, isn't that what it's all about?
Yeah, and it's a shame that people don't want to experience that. And and as a younger guy, it's just watching a lot of the older stuff. It's almost like you kind of have to take a step back and go, this used to be a thing. Like these crowds were white fucking hot. I mean, I don't know. I think probably more like the biggest pop I've seen, personally to me, this is just my opinion recently, was Money in the Bank 2011. CM Punk coming out, to that hot Chicago crowd, and they were just eating it out of the palm of his hand. And I remember that clear as day because that was actually my birthday, July 17th, and I was just in my room on my laptop watching the pay-per-view, and I didn't want to even leave my room to even have cake. I was just
and you were like college age at that point, right?
Yeah, I was 28, 20. No, not 28, 22. I'm sorry. And
well, see, like 2011 to me is like yesterday, But I understand. But that to you, 2011 at 31 years old, 2011 to you is like what 1999 would be to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm saying from an age perspective. Yeah. So I can say like 2011 seems so long ago, but to me it's almost like fresh. Because I really see him Punk's out of wrestling for a long time now, but to me it just seems like yesterday.
Yeah, and to me, like I can always watch that match, and if any, I'll just watch the entrance just to see like how crazy it is. Like just to remind yourselves, this is what wrestling used to be, and and before we get into TLC and just call it night so you can go watch Blue Bloods, I kind of think about a conversation I had with Rob from Wrestling Soup, where not Wrestling Soup, Wrestling Court. I'm sorry, where we were talking about something Eric Bischoff said, where he said there's not a lot of stars in wrestling, A, B, C, and D, and we were just talking about it for a bit, and I can't really remember off the top of my head everything we were saying, but I just remember something I said, which was basically, well, I don't think wrestling will ever be mainstream again, personally, but it can be cool again. Wrestling can be cool. And it's easy to make it cool. And he just said, you know what? You said a lot more in one sentence than Eric Bischoff has said in his whole career. And I'm just like, I mean, I wasn't even trying to be right. I was just kind of stating what I think is the obvious, because wrestling used to be cool. Wrestling can be cool. It can't be mainstream and big the way it used to be. I don't think it will, personally. But I think it can still be cool again, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it could still be cool again. I mean, it's, sometimes wrestling is cool. I mean, sometimes it's not. It's an inconsistent product. That's the problem. Years ago, it was much more consistent. Back when we started doing the hotline with 2003, it was Ruthless Aggression era when I started doing the hotline with Anthony.
Right.
And, John Cena just, was not even a year. He was doing his Thugonomics and stuff like that. I remember talking about it all the time on the show. Like that, John Cena was with that B squared guy, and Eddie Guerrero was tearing it up, Lie, Cheat, Steal. And, the Radical guys were still, doing well. Again, it was can't miss. So when we did the hotline and we did I guess it was a recap in a way of Raw. Raw was like can't miss. Like it wasn't like, oh, this is going to be a drag. I don't remember one time in the early days of doing stuff with Anthony that we were like, yeah, it sucked tonight. I don't really want to talk about it tonight. Like we used to do in later years, even on the podcast. Like, yeah, this is going to be short tonight because there wasn't really a lot going on. It was real draining to watch the show tonight. Like back then, it was just like there's so much going on. From even the enhancement guys were interesting in 2003. Piper was back, Sean O'Hare was there on SmackDown. You had some of the top guys were still very active. Taker, all those guys were there full time. So again, I've never got acclimated in the last couple of years to almost being trained to always be disappointed by wrestling, when the first half of me doing Hotlines to podcasting was covering great wrestling and looking forward to talking about it. Then it just became we got to, again, it's, that's why I credit where credit's due. And I saw Anthony share this post. I don't remember who it was from, tweet. I don't know. I can't remember who it was from. I think it was Tommy Dreamer, who said, complain, bitch, cry, whatever. But the fact of the matter is the last 3 WWE pay-per-views are pretty good. And he's right. They were. Right. And it's like, if you want to find a reason to not like it, that's fine. And again, opinions vary in wrestling. It's not everybody's going to have the same opinion. I think there's certain things we can all agree on, that have happened in wrestling history that are awesome. Hogan and Warrior, WrestleMania, Macho Man turning on Hogan and hitting him with the belt and Elizabeth screaming. There's certain like angles and stuff we all look back on. We can watch it. Andre in Piper's Pit tearing the cross and shirt off Hogan was awesome. There's just certain things you're not gonna see anybody hate on. But this past Sunday, I agree with Anthony. It was a pretty good pay-per-view. I gave it a pretty good review. And had I been on a podcast talking about it, the night recapping night of like I used to do, I would have, like I said, I would have gave it an 8 out of 10. That was my opinion. I thought it was pretty good. It's too hokey, the ending. Wrestling is always hokey. What the wrestling is hokey because it's not real. And I didn't dwell on the thing with the Fiend and Orton as much because there was no title on the line or anything. It was more about Owens and Reigns for me, who put on a great match. I'd never seen Reigns give so much offense to an opponent recently. He gave Kevin Owens more open offense than he gave Drew McIntyre. So you actually thought that Owens might beat Reigns. So I thought it was a good pay-per-view. The title matches were pretty compelling, but there was nothing really on the line with Reigns. It was just a grudge match between Orton and the Fiend. It was just a grudge match. So I don't know, everyone was making like a big deal out of it. Nothing was on the line. And the guy's going to basically change his character, get a new mask and a new look. And so what? It's like a different Jason when they have a Friday the 13th and now there's a new guy playing him and he looks a little bit different. Wow, this guy looks different than the last guy. Every horror movie you see or even a sequel, there's a new monster or a new, that's the way I look at it. It's episodic TV. I don't know why everybody was freaking out about the Bray Wyatt thing. Did it bother you at all what happened to Bray Wyatt? It didn't bother me. Quite honestly, I'm done with the clown pants and the tight leather jacket. I think he needs a new look. The mask I love, but I think the wrestling attire, it's not very flattering for him.
I agree. I pretty much agree with. I pretty much agree with everything you're saying because, like, I guess we can just segue into TLC. We don't have to go like match by match. We can just talk about it as a whole. But
Cookie Bray lost his luster, so Mish agreed.
Yeah, the Bray thing. Like at first, I was like, oh, that's going to be the main event, and then I saw what you posted. That it kind of had to be the main event because it was pre-taped and also there was fire involved, so that couldn't be a thing of like Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens having to top that. So they had to make that the main event because it would make more sense, even though it was pre-taped. But I watched. Here's the thing: I didn't get a chance to watch it on Sunday because I was working. It was just real busy, so I wasn't able to actually watch it. I watched it when I got home. I enjoyed it. I thought it was probably the best pay-per-view of the year, and it's the last pay-per-view of the year. I think it's the best pay-per-view of the year, and I do agree with Tommy Dreamer. The last three pay-per-views have actually been very good. Hell in a Cell I enjoyed. Survivor Series we talked about it with RJ. We enjoyed it a lot. TLC, yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Roman and Kevin Owens, those two just seem to have very good chemistry because you look at their styles, they seem to mesh well. Roman's, he's more of the power, brawler wrestler. Kevin Owens is a brawler, but he's a better wrestler than Reigns, but they seem to mesh well. Reigns is, the good-looking ass kicker, whereas, Kevin Owens is kind of like the
regular guy, the average guy.
The average guy, and it works. And, I was there for the 2017 Rumble when they had their match, and, everybody was going crazy. And I liked it, and I agree with you on I'm pretty much agreeing with you on everything,
wow,
Kevin, where, first time, by the way, people, that, the heel Reigns where, his opponent takes him to the limit and then at the end he does what he has to do to win. It makes sense because it doesn't make him look like a chicken shit because he's actually fighting. It makes him look more like,
a bad guy.
I'm going to do what I have to do to win. And then, again, that's what a heel does.
Well, exactly. The whole thing is when he showed up with that shirt, like show up and win. And what was the other shirt that he has with the, beat down people and whatever? You thought that he was going to be a dominator and just kick ass and his opponents wouldn't have much of a chance. But then I was saying to myself, no, you know what? Maybe they should go with, if they want to assure that he's going to get some boos when the crowds come back, whether it's spring or early summer, I would say summertime, when the crowds come back. If they want to not have an overflow of too much cheering for him, make him do things that are just like, oh, come on. Like he punched Owens in the balls, literally, to beat him. I mean, he punched him in the balls.
Loved
You know, no one saw that coming. I mean, Owens was right there. He had the belt in hand. I'm like, he's got the belt. He won. He's got his hand on the belt. Pull it down. And I'm even saying then Rollins comes up, punches him in the balls. And so that's going to make people be like, oh, come on. Oh, man, that's like he had to do that. So that's what I mean. Even though, again, it's fake and whatever, but make Reigns do kind of it's not a chicken shit move, but kind of a scummy move. He's doing scummy things. He's manipulating his family members. He's threatening to take Christmas dinner away from his nephews. I mean, he's doing these things. You know, he's doing these scummy things. So, again, he's still going to get cheered when crowds come back, but he'll get a contingency of boos because he's being such a prick. You know what I'm saying? He's not being too cool for the room. He's doing some things where you're like, oh, you know, he beat Owens in kind of a, punched him in the balls. But I thought it was funny. I was laughing when he hit him in the nuts. I was like, that's the only way to get him off the ladder. I mean, how else was he going to get him off? So I think it was pretty funny. Mitch is saying like him reaching up to Roman's leg and laughing like fucking die. I mean, yeah, that's like good stuff. But at first when he was wearing those shirts of like show up and win, I'm like, oh, he's going to be this dominator, ass kicker, not give anybody any defense. He's going to be all, it's all offense. And, he's going to make short work out of people. But now I'm thinking, no, let it look like even a mid-card guy can almost beat him and people will be invested that he can maybe lose this title. So I like that. And I like the fact, he totally counts on the Usos to interfere from now. And it's a pain in the ass. And again, you'll get people who cheer him just because they like him being a bad guy, but you'll get people to boo him too. So they won't have to overdo it with that, enhancing the booze thing. They'll do it anyway. But I'm sure they're afraid of him being now a cool bad guy. But if they keep making him do scumbag moves like this, he'll stay a bad guy. So I like the direction they're going with Reigns. And it's, again, I look back on all the Reigns shit over the years, and it's amazing now that I'm having these conversations about Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that's a long time coming because, we're glad he's a heel now. We're glad it's working. And again, Mish, he's hit the nail on the head. He's saying Roman was always a natural dick. And yeah, he's right because when they tried to push him as John Cena, it didn't work because John Cena is John Cena. It's like the analogy I gave when I had RJ on the show with you, where I was like, it's like if you tried to make Wolverine Captain America, it wouldn't work because Wolverine's a dick. Wolverine's a cool hero, but he's also a dick. He can't be Captain America. Captain America is Captain America, just like John Cena is John Cena. Having Roman trying to go out there and be like, yo, homie, so let me tell you a joke I heard. Ha ha. Like, it doesn't work. Because his natural cadence is he's kind of comes off as a dick. And it works. It works for him.
Yeah, no, it totally works. And again, it's the best move they've made, whosever decision it was. Paul Heyman's, Roman Reigns, Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon. Well, we don't know who really came up with this ultimate idea to turn him bad guy. I think it was, probably all of them. Conversing and thinking this was the way to go because everyone's giving Heyman credit, but I'm not even really sure it was Paul's idea. Whatever. But and Heyman doesn't really talk that much for Reigns. He talks more for himself. Paul just kind of stands there and holds the belt. You know what I mean? He doesn't really say much. Paul never interferes. Isn't doing. He was much more active and boisterous when he was with Brock Lesnar. He's very quiet. He's just cashing those checks. Mitch said it's true. It's just put him. That's a pretty easy gig Paul Heyman's got for Roman Reigns. And Paul Heyman even said on some podcast interviews, and he wasn't doing a shtick. He was being, Paul Heyman, just a guy talking. He said, "I don't have to do much for Reigns. He's got it. He gets what it's like to be a heel now. He's got it, and I just kind of stand back and let him talk and let him do his thing." Because on this radio show I heard Heyman was on, like, you're not talking that much. He goes, "I don't have to. What do I got to over talk him for? He's the champion. Let him talk. Just because I handled Brock a different way doesn't mean I have to handle Roman the same way." So he's right. He's right. He doesn't have to. He did have to do the talking for Brock. Brock wanted it that way. Reigns does. It almost reminds me of Bobby Heenan and Rick Rude. where Rick didn't like Bobby having to talk for him all the time. Rick's like, I can cut a promo. I don't need you to talk for me. And there used to be some problems between them backstage when Heenan managed Rude. I even saw in a shoot interview that Rude was like, I can talk. I don't need you to talk. You can talk for me, like defending me, but give me the mic. I'll talk. So I think there's certain guys who want the manager to talk. And I think, and Reigns isn't like a big, wordsmith, but he's doing a good job as a talker. I think he's much more interesting to listen to now than he was babyface.
Yeah, but the way I look at it is like, for Paul's role, it's more just like, Roman's like, you're going to do the shit that I don't want to do. You're going to have to do all the business dealings I don't feel like dealing with. Just go out there and do this, and I'll just kick the ass. Like that's pretty much Paul's role, is that he's doing this shit that Roman doesn't want to do.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, again, and Mish is bringing the point that like Bobby Heenan was instrumental for a guy like Andre. And I was just listening to the podcast today, Something to Wrestle With. Me and James were listening to it on the way to the doc when I was going to the doctor in Brooklyn. I was just saying we listened to something new to listen to. Cornette we had already listened to. It's like a 45-minute trip, so we put on Something to Wrestle With Bruce Pritchard and Conrad talking about Andre the Giant. So it's funny, Mish, that you brought that up because just today, it was just released the other day, a new Andre the Giant retrospective that they were doing on Conrad's podcast. And they were talking about Bobby Heenan talking for Andre because Andre, again, there's certain people who couldn't. Andre could talk, but his accent, it was so. And Bruce Pritchard was like imitating, which was really irritating. He kept imitating Andre the Giant, making Andre the Giant sound like a special needs guy instead of like a Frenchman. And they were talking about how Bobby wanted to talk for him, and Andre wanted to cut his own promos. And Bobby had to convince Andre. He's like, no, let me. You're the Giant. You don't have to. You're the Giant. You just be the Giant and stand there. And Bobby almost manipulated Andre into seeing it his way because Andre wanted to talk. And Bobby's like, no. That's why I'm here. You let me talk. You just be the eighth wonder of the world. That's all you have to be. And Andre would listen to Bobby. So that's funny that you brought that up, Mish, because we were just talking about that in the car today, how Bobby had to convince Andre, you don't need to talk. Because Vince didn't want Andre to talk because he wasn't a good talker. I'm sure, Drew, you've seen clips of Andre the Giant
right
talking over the years. It didn't register. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. But
Andre the Giant was a wrestler, Drew. By the way,
really, I thought he was.
He was a wrestler, but
I thought he was
before your time.
I thought he was a mascot on a cereal box. But. Yeah,
Andre the Giant. Wow. What year were you born, Drew?
89.
89. Okay, Andre the Giant 94. So you were 5 when Andre the Giant died.
Well, I knew him. Like I mentioned.
No, you were 4. 93.
Well, yeah, like I knew of him. I kind of had to like be filled on who Andre the Giant was by like people I knew because my dad didn't watch wrestling. He hated wrestling. I think he kind of. I wouldn't say he's a fan of it. He's more just like he understands it a little better now because like he'll ask me wrestling questions, and then I'll bring up like for example Brock makes a dick ton of money and he only wrestles like this nowadays. He's like good, a lot of these wrestlers they need to get paid more, especially like the guys who bring in the revenue because and he hates McMahon. He says, oh, I fucking hate that asshole. Like my dad's Iranian, so he'll like be like, oh, I fucking hate McMahon. I want to beat his ass myself. Like he'll just my dad's like he'll talk about wanting to beat people's ass. I'm like, Dad, you're what? You're like 60. You're 66. I don't think you can afford to get into fights right now. He's like, oh, I'll beat everyone's ass. I'm like, yeah, okay, Dad.
Your father is 66?
He was born in 1954.
Oh, okay.
He's 66 and he's still strong as an ox. Like when he hugs me, it fucking hurts. Like he'll give me that big bear hug. I'm just like, oh, okay, Dad. So
he still works full time?
He actually retired back in 2013 because he had back surgery.
Oh, okay.
And like he'll work like part-time odd jobs. Like he'll like pick up cars and drop them off in different cities and make a little money on the side.
Oh, really? Pick up cars and drop them off in certain cities? I like that. So he's very outlawish.
He's very my dad's very much. It's funny, and I don't mean to say this as a joke. My dad's he's always had kind of like that outlaw kind of rebel attitude because
Nice.
he doesn't take shit from anybody. For example, sounds like he knows how to sell porn.
Speaking of that, Mitch, I need your help tomorrow. I'm going to try and push Christmas Eve sales. I'm marking down my Playboys to $2 an issue. It's a special Christmas Eve. It's a Christmas Eve sweeps giveaway tomorrow night.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Drew, I could promise you a Christy Hemi for $1.99.
Hey, fine with me. But I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, like for example, he used to sell cars. That's pretty much he used to sell cars a lot, and
I'm gonna sign you up.
His boss, cussed him out one day. He called him a dumbass, and my dad just went okay, and he walked out. He said, "Fine," then I quit and walked out. Literally 20 minutes later, this guy's calling him, just like kissing his ass, like, "All right, I'm sorry, like, please come back." Like my dad has that stigma on people where it's just like he's a very genuine person. Like you want to be around him. He's the life of the party. You want to hang out with him, and he's a good dude. Like we don't have the closest relationship that we probably should.
Right.
But obviously, I love my dad, and he means the world to me, and I want him to be here until he's 1,000 years old. Like I want him here. I want him here until like when I'm 100, I want him to still be here when he's 166 or something. Like,
well, are you gonna see your family tomorrow for Christmas or the next day?
Well, I'm working on Christmas, but yeah, tomorrow we're gonna go by the house and just exchange gifts.
Oh, nice.
So I bought him like this nice little toolkit for $20. Good. I bought him this nice toolkit that he was like dying for, and it was $75, and like the things I do for love. I bought him that.
The things I do for love.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I love my dad. When it comes to people I love, there's really no price tag. Well, it depends, but
well, the good thing, did you order it online? I'm expecting like 3 packages from people who sent me stuff like 2 weeks ago. The mail is so bad right now; they're backed up. A friend of mine sent me something from Florida. I paid 2-day express for it, $50. It is now 11 days later. We still haven't gotten it yet.
Ugh.
So it's like playing beat the clock. I hope I get it tomorrow. I mean, again, I feel bad. The post office is such a mess right now. Like everyone is having problems getting delivery. It's a shame that Amazon can guarantee delivery, and these guys who drive part-time Amazon, that professional post office is making you pay, 2-day express and not meeting their commitments and just warehousing fucking boxes. It's a big news story here in New York. The mail is terrible right now here in New York. I don't know if it's like that for Mission, Chicago, for you in Texas. The mail is very bad right now. The packages are not getting here. People are not getting stuff for Christmas on time. I talked to my mom today, who ordered stuff for people. It's not here. And she felt bad. She goes, I have nothing on Christmas to give them. I'm like, Ma, it's not your fault. What are you going to do? It's like, why is this happening? I'm like, I don't think it has to do with budget cuts or something with the post office, or I'm not sure. But yeah, I know a lot of people who are not going to have their gifts in time. Unless tomorrow there's a big rush. It's funny. We were in Brooklyn, me and James tonight, and we saw a Federal Express guy was trying to get behind us. We were parking in a driveway. And we're like, wow, it was like 9:00 at night. And, the FedEx guy comes out and goes, working late. He goes, yeah, no, Christmas. I'm working till midnight, just getting by. I'm like, wow, I've never seen FedExpress deliver, regular civilian pack. The companies, I've seen them deliver at night. But this guy was telling me he was like working till midnight. FedExpress was determined to get everybody's Christmas stuff out. And I was telling him, I said, I wish the post office had that philosophy. And he was like, oh, yeah, don't use the post office for anything right now. So, yeah, FedExpress, UPS, and Amazon, I'll give them credit. They're busting their ass to make sure people get their stuff on time. Post office is just like, fuck you. Post office is just a mess right now. Can't get anything.
Yeah, which you would think, the post office would, be on that same game as like an Amazon or UPS, but it's just like, yeah, like same thing kind of happened to me not too long ago, and this is kind of like a nothing, compared to what's going on to everybody else. But I remember I had ordered some masks, I can't even talk. Some masks on eBay. Some face masks. I ordered a Star Wars mask for my girl. Because she's a big Star Wars geek, and I ordered a Batman one for me, and hers didn't come in. Hey, take care, Mish.
Oh, Mish, you around tomorrow night to record me for Christmas? That's the only way I'm going to know if I could do the show. Yeah, if you could do it, that'd be great, dude. I'm just gonna do like fly by the seat of my pants kind of thing. So I'll hit you up tomorrow. Yeah, just for 10 o'clock. If you could just even leave the recording on, and I'll do like 90 minutes or something. Thanks, Mish. I appreciate it. I'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks, buddy.
I mean, if you want me to record you, I can. I'm off tomorrow.
Well, you can record too.
Yeah, I can record you on Spreaker if you want me to.
All right, let me talk to Mish. I'm gonna see if Mish can do it. So make sure, God forbid, fucking problem. I'm doing a show with Mish and Anthony on the following Tuesday, the 29th, I think it is. Well, the next Tuesday, I'm doing a end of year show with them on Breakfast Soup. So anyway, but yeah, no, if it's a backup, to a backup, yeah, that would be great. But yeah, I kind of promised everybody a show tomorrow night, so I'll hopefully Mish can do it. If not, I'll go to Plan B.
Right, and Maurice has a question to ask you. He says, "Can't wait for tomorrow's show." Plus, I have a question. I was holding out for 2 weeks. I can't wait to ask.
I hope it's not personal.
It might be.
I'm not allowed to mention my brothers, my cousins, or anybody anymore. I was warned, so I can't mention family anymore.
But yeah, you're doing your year-end show on next Wednesday. I'm doing my year-end show on the 30th. As you know, will you be available for Wednesday?
Next Wednesday. I don't even know where I'm going to be next Wednesday. Why does that sound familiar?
30th.
I have to get back to you. I committed to something the other day. I don't remember if it's Wednesday or not. I have to check my schedule. I'll let you know after Christmas.
Awesome. Because I was hoping to get you and both you and RJ on, for that being the last show.
I'll try. I'll try if I can do it. I'll do it. If I can, I'll do it. Because maybe I will, because I'm not doing next Thursday New Year's. I'm not. I think I said that before. Right. I'm not gonna be able. I'm not gonna have Trez miss 2 shows in a row. It's not fair to her. Right. And New Year's, Anthony's doing a live thing, so I'm not gonna do something for just like a handful of people. So I'll probably reschedule that and then do that with Trez. Maybe I can record on Friday or Saturday with Anthony or Mish or something. I'll figure it out. But yeah, probably my last Castle Chronicles of the year will probably be tomorrow. Then won't do one next week, but then a couple of days later just to make it up. I don't know, because the year is over then, so we might go into January. I have to talk to Anthony and see what's worth me doing. So if I'm not doing anything next Thursday, I guess I can do something on Wednesday with you. That'll be cool. But I'm definitely doing something on Tuesday with Mish and Anthony though.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have you and RJ back on. We got really good feedback on the show that we had.
Yeah, no, he was cool. He was cool. I've enjoyed meeting like all these new people who have podcasts too, so it's cool.
But what was I going to say? Yeah, I was going to send you the nominees, because I don't know if I mentioned you before. It's going to be a thing of like, I put some of the nominees as a poll on Twitter, so the fans can vote, and at the same time, we would be giving our own opinion, like who we think is the best male wrestler of the year. And then I'll just read off on who the fans voted. Not for everything, just certain nominees. And then, just I'll send it to you.
Look at tonight. I mean, I didn't know I was going to be on tonight. I ended up coming on. So, maybe I'll be able to do the same thing. And I don't think I have to go anywhere next Wednesday. I just think I have a interview with somebody earlier that night, but I think it's like 7 o'clock, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Oh, awesome. Just let me know, man. But, all right, dude.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up. I got to go see Blue Bloods now. I've been waiting for days, man. No offense, I love you, but I love Blue Bloods too. So
yeah, I get it. But yeah, man, I appreciate you for coming on. I appreciate you for coming on, dude. I'm always glad to hear from you. I'm glad you're doing okay. And
I'm doing all right.
Try to have a good Christmas, dude.
Yeah, no, Merry Christmas to you too. And if I think, like I said, I'm 99% sure, well, 95% sure I'll do the show tomorrow night and stop by if you can. I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm probably 10, then I'll be done by 11:30. I'm not going to go, then I'll let people go enjoy their Christmas. I just wanted to have something recorded for the Chronicles to close out December. So I just wanted to meet my commitment to that. And if you could stop by, stop by. If not, check it out on the download, and I'll probably, chat with you on Twitter anyway.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there.
All right, man. But thanks for having me. And good night to anybody in the chat or anybody who's listening to this on the download. Thank you very much. And I will catch you guys soon. Merry Christmas to everybody here on the Drew Yari Show. And Drew, I will talk to you probably tomorrow.
Absolutely, man. Take care. Take care, bro.
All right. Take care. Be good. You too, Maurice. Take care. Peace.
All right. We did 2.5 hours. Was it 2 hours and 16 minutes? Oh man, I love Kev. Kev knows I love him. I can't. I'm trying to think of the word. I can't say it enough. I love Kev. He means the world to me. I call him Uncle Kev because, in a way, I kind of think of Kev as an uncle. He's that good of a person. He means the world to me, and I don't know how he feels about me, but I love Kev. He means the world to me. But look at this bowl of onions here. I'm playing, but appreciate everybody for showing up. Mish, if you hear this, the Island Guy, Sasha Baron Corbin. And then, of course, Maurice, who never misses a show. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And just shouts to everybody. Shouts to Wrestling Soup. They're going to have a show tomorrow, I think. Of course, Mish and Joey. And support them on the Patreon. And, of course, Kev. I can't forget about Kevin. Kevin and Tress, support them on Patreon, on the DTKC Patreon. And then you got Wrestling Court with Julian and Rob. I believe they did a show today. Also JD, not JD from New York, the other JD, the Russell Bread podcast. Support her. She's good people. She's a cool chick. False Count Radio with Andrew Carlick, and the Garden, Jeff Littman, who has the Garden of Dude podcast, and then Hammerlock Hangover, which I'm going to be on next Tuesday. The final Hammerlock Hangover show of the year. I will be on next Tuesday, so look out for that. I don't know if they do live shows if they record. I think they just record. Also on Garden of Doom, we got Shaheen, good friend of mine, good friend of the show. You can also catch him on Breaking the Apocalypse with John Draper and at B Show Brian, good friends of mine. Also with Shaheen, support him on Nuclear Heat Graphics. If you need some artwork done for your podcast, your YouTube channel, just for anything, get a hold of Shaheen. He's the man you want to get a hold of. He is the best. He's the best in the world at what he does. And he also has a new website for Nuclear Graphics, so look that up. And you got Texas Podcast Massacre. They just had a new episode that came out. Oh yeah, RJ. I don't want to put RJ's business on the air. RJ just, if you follow him on Twitter, he just had a death in the family, and send your well wishes to RJ if you follow him on any form of social media. I love RJ to death. Yeah, he's like my little brother. Means the world to me. Love him. Just send your well wishes to RJ. Look out for his podcast. You got the Savage Squad show, which you can listen to anywhere. He's also on Brother Monty's podcast. Monty's a good dude. Listen to him. And then it's pretty much everybody. If I'm forgetting anyone, I'm so sorry. But just support everybody. Again, I'll be back next Wednesday for my year-end awards. Hopefully with Kevin. Kevin says he's committed. He'll be on. I already told RJ about it. He already said he's going to be on. So it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a really big show. I don't know why I'm saying that. But, everybody have a happy holidays. Have a safe Christmas. Try to enjoy it. I know it's been a hard year, but just try to have a good Christmas, everybody. Hopefully with your family, with a loved one, or, with a cat or a dog. Or by yourself. You can still have a happy holiday by yourself. You certainly can. So, anyways, guys, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and just take care of yourself and each other. Bye-bye.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari. It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari. It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.